Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm excited to share with you our exploration of the evolution of Islamic law, from revelation to modernity. On this first slide, we're setting the stage for our journey. We'll look at how Sharia has transformed from divine revelation into the diverse legal systems we see across the Muslim world today. Over the course of this presentation, we'll trace its origins, development, and contemporary adaptations. Let's get started. The early Muslim community in Medina was actually quite instrumental in applying these principles in real life. They didn't just learn the teachings, they put them into practice, setting important precedents for future generations of believers. When we look at how they did this, we see that the sayings, actions, and approvals of Prophet Muhammad offer us practical ways to interpret Quranic principles. These teachings are carefully documented in the Hadith literature, which helps preserve these valuable lessons for us to learn from. Now, the Sunnah, what we often refer to as the Prophet's example, serves as a key guide in understanding how to live according to Islamic principles. It complements the Quran by showing us how to implement its teachings in daily life. Speaking of the Quran, it's the foundational source of Islamic law, revealed gradually over 23 years to Prophet Muhammad. Its verses provide the primary guidance for every aspect of life, shaping the moral, legal, and spiritual framework of the community. When we think about divine revelation, it's at the very core of Sharia. This process of revelation is what makes the law divine and unchangeable, guiding believers through every generation. So, in summary, these elements, revelation, the Prophet's example, and the community's practice, all work together to form the foundation of Islamic law, which we'll explore further as we continue. When strict analogy, or qiyas, doesn't quite fit a new situation, we often turn to a different approach called istihsan, or juristic preference. This method allows scholars to choose the most equitable solution that better serves justice, even if it means deviating from a strict analogy. It's a way to ensure fairness when the usual rules don't perfectly apply. Next, we have ijma, which is the consensus among qualified scholars on a legal issue. This consensus is highly valued because it reflects the collective wisdom and agreement of knowledgeable experts, helping us arrive at a unified, reliable ruling. Then there's qiyas, or analogical reasoning, which involves extending existing rulings to new situations based on established precedents. This method allows us to adapt Islamic law to evolving circumstances while maintaining a connection to the foundational principles. All of these methods, istihsan, ijma, and qiyas, are part of the rich framework developed by the great jurists and schools of thought. They include the major legal schools like Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, and Hanbali in Sunni Islam, as well as distinct Shia traditions. Islamic jurisprudence, or fiqh, emerged as a scholarly discipline during this formative period, which spans roughly from the 8th to the 10th centuries CE. It was a dedicated effort by scholars to interpret divine sources, namely the Quran and Sunnah, and apply these teachings to everyday life, ensuring that religion remains relevant and accessible. So, in this chapter, we see how the development of fiqh provided a structured, systematic approach to understanding and applying Islamic law, especially when straightforward analogies don't suffice. Medieval jurists played a crucial role in shaping Islamic legal tradition through their meticulous efforts. They carefully documented legal principles, ensuring that these ideas were clearly articulated and preserved for future generations. These efforts resulted in comprehensive reference works that served as foundational texts. Such works didn't just record laws, they created a scholarly foundation that would guide Muslim communities for centuries. This deep commitment to scholarship highlights how the development of law was both a scholarly and community-centered endeavor, reinforcing the importance of legal guidance in daily life. It's a testament to the enduring legacy of these jurists, whose work established a structured and accessible legal framework that continues to influence Islamic law even today. Let's explore how Islamic law and ethics are deeply intertwined. Scholars like Marion Holmes Katz highlight that akhlaq, or ethics, play a crucial role in shaping moral character and guiding virtuous conduct within the Islamic tradition. This connection isn't just theoretical, it influences how laws are applied in daily life. Now, when we look at the practical side, we see that Islamic law was put into action through judicial systems. Those are the qadis, and various administrative practices. These institutions helped shape governance across Muslim states, ensuring that laws were not only written, but also enforced fairly and consistently. Furthermore, to manage this complex legal landscape, comprehensive manuals called Furu al-Fiqh were developed. These texts systematically organized rulings on a wide range of issues: worship, transactions, family law, and criminal justice. This organization made it easier for scholars and judges to access and apply the law accurately. All of this fits into the broader theme of how Islamic law evolved, especially during the period from the 11th to the 15th centuries CE. This era saw significant codification and expansion, solidifying legal principles and broadening their application across different facets of Muslim life. In this part of the presentation, Dr. Suleiman Leb Rifai delves into the contemporary discussions on development within Islamic law, particularly focusing on human resource development and the challenges faced today. He highlights how modern interpretations have evolved over time, especially in response to historical influences. For instance, during the colonial period, European powers imposed secular legal codes on many Muslim-majority regions. This often meant that Islamic law was either sidelined or incorporated selectively into new legal frameworks, shaping how these societies developed their legal and social systems. When we look at the impact of colonialism, it's clear that the modern state systems we see today are deeply rooted in these historical processes. Western scholars, for example, argue that Islamic civilization experienced a stagnation after the 12th century. However, this view has been challenged by ongoing scholarly work that emphasizes the continued development and normative richness of Islamic societies, which often contradicts the idea of stagnation. This leads us into the broader stagnation debate, where the narrative of decline is questioned and nuanced. It's important to recognize that Islamic law and civilization have continually adapted, especially from the 16th century to the present. Chapter 4 of the broader study explores these challenges and how Islamic legal systems have responded and evolved in the face of modern pressures. So overall, these points illustrate that the story of Islamic development is complex and dynamic, shaped by external influences like colonialism and internal efforts at adaptation and reform. This context helps us better understand the ongoing discourse around development within Islamic law today. Now, let's look at how modern courtrooms are evolving by integrating Islamic law within broader legal frameworks. Today's reality shows a blend of tradition and innovation, where courts are increasingly aligning with constitutional frameworks and international standards. This integration helps ensure that justice is not only rooted in religious principles, but also compatible with modern legal expectations. At the same time, we still see traditional Islamic courts operating, often applying classical jurisprudence in community settings. These courts tend to focus on resolving local disputes based on long-standing Islamic legal principles. Understanding this evolution requires us to consider the historical context, how from tradition, these practices have moved toward modernity. The transition reflects ongoing efforts to balance respect for tradition with the demands of contemporary legal systems, making the overall picture more nuanced and dynamic. This slide highlights the key challenge and opportunity: how to harmonize these different legal paradigms in a way that upholds justice, respects cultural identities, and meets international standards. It's a vital part of our broader discussion on the evolving role of Islamic law in today's legal landscape. Independent legal reasoning is a vital aspect of Islamic law because it allows qualified scholars to address new and unprecedented issues that arise in our modern world. This ensures that Islamic law stays relevant and applicable to contemporary challenges we face today. When scholars engage in ijtihad, they are applying their knowledge and reasoning to interpret divine sources in ways that meet current needs. The higher objectives of Islamic law, known as Maqasid al-Sharia, play a crucial role here. These objectives, protecting faith, life, intellect, lineage, and property, serve as guiding principles for interpretation. They help ensure that our legal rulings promote justice and the well-being of society while staying true to Islamic values. It's also important to understand the distinction between Sharia and fiqh. Sharia refers to divine law as revealed by God through the Quran and Sunnah. Fiqh, on the other hand, represents human interpretation and scholarly understanding of those divine sources. Fiqh is our effort to apply divine law practically, considering the context and circumstances of different times. So, in summary, these key concepts, independent reasoning, the higher objectives, and the distinction between divine law and human interpretation, are all interconnected. They help us see how Islamic law remains dynamic, relevant, and just, guiding us through the complexities of modern life while staying rooted in divine guidance. Islamic law is truly a living tradition that continues to evolve over time. You see, it's not a static system. It develops through ongoing scholarly debate and discussion. Scholars around the world interpret and reinterpret principles to suit new contexts and challenges. At the same time, they remain deeply committed to preserving the core principles that define Islamic law. What's fascinating is how adaptable it is, able to respond to diverse cultural settings while still holding on to its fundamental values. This flexibility allows Islamic law to stay relevant and meaningful across different societies and eras. So, in essence, it's a dynamic tradition, one that respects its roots but also embraces growth and change in a thoughtful way. This ongoing evolution is a testament to its vitality and relevance in the modern world. Contemporary researchers and jurists continue debating the interpretation and application of Islamic law, which helps ensure that it remains relevant in the rapidly changing landscape of the 21st century. This ongoing scholarly engagement means that the law isn't static. Instead, it evolves through continuous discussion and analysis. Its influence extends far beyond the Muslim world, impacting legal systems, business practices, and even cultural norms in various regions around the globe. What's truly remarkable is how Islamic law manages to adapt to new contexts and challenges while still preserving its core principles. This flexibility and resilience over the centuries demonstrate its strength as a living, dynamic system. In essence, Islamic law is not just a historical artifact, but an enduring legacy that continues to shape societies today. It exemplifies a system that balances tradition with innovation, ensuring its relevance and vitality across different eras and cultures.